Bring in Josh, who's going to be zooming in right about now. And there he is, the
What's
man, the
going
myth, the
on, man?
legend. Nothing much. Just had a good sports podcast, and I'm looking forward to talking a little art and a little charity raid train and doing some art
Absolutely,
with
dude.
you. And for people that don't know, I do have a Josh command, I believe. And well, I'll just read it for the people that are maybe listening or watching back later. But he is a singer, songwriter, and Twitch music streamer who's toured the UK and the USA and Canada for over 9 years. And I'm sure it's over 10 now since I wrote that a year ago. So thank you for joining us, Josh. Josh has been a part of these streams when we've talked about raid trains in the past. And then also talked Olympics with us, and we've talked a little bit of hockey in the past and some other stuff as well. So we've talked a lot of different things. Josh is the leader of this really cool raid train. I wonder if I may still
Oh,
have it
thank you,
over.
man.
Command. Oh, I guess I'm trying to remember what I called it last year. Is it heart? I don't know. I had a command at one point, but I
That's
have
all
so
right.
many
I'll get
commands.
you. I'll get you all the new ones.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
all good, man.
We'll definitely have it. So first of all, let people know this is is it the fourth year we're doing this, or is it the
This is the third year.
third year? Okay.
Yeah,
Third. And let people know what the dates are for this upcoming raid train.
absolutely. So starting March 7th at 6 a.m. Eastern time until March 11th at 2 a.m. Eastern time. We are going to have nonstop 24 hours a day of music, raising funds and awareness for Variety, the children's charity, which is an organization that has about 30 to 40 different tent locations in 11 different countries around the world. And they all focus on helping kids of various different ability levels with various different challenges live their best lives and get to be their best selves at all times. Their inclusive programming is fantastic. They help kids get the medical care that they need, the education that they need, and in a lot of cases, the wheelchairs and accessible devices to help them live their best lives.
And yeah, excited for the train, says voice unmuted. Welcome on
What's
in.
going on, Katie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're very excited to have Voice Unmuted and the entire unmuted community as a part of this raid train again this year.
yeah,
Katie
yeah,
was
yeah.
part of the first ever one that we had, and it's amazing to see like some continued faces come back. Like people every year want to be a part of it, and it's always really fun to have some new faces in there as well.
Yeah. And so yeah, I do have all the variety commands still working. I was looking in the back end, that I still have them
There
uh,
you go.
that talk about the different organization. I think that that's an old Tiltify link. I don't know if they still. I don't know if it.
Yes,
You
I
guys.
will. I can send you. I'll
Yeah,
send you the
don't use
new
that link
version.
right now. But one thing that I will do is next week. I know that the charity raid train does end. Hold on, let me let Lily out 1 second. She needs to go.
Oh, it's all good, man. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Like
Yeah.
that's that's
Um.
what's going on Twitch chat. How's
Yeah.
everybody doing?
Welcome on in, everybody. But yeah, so I think it ends on the 11th, which is the Monday, right? Like early in the morning, our time.
Yes.
Right.
It ends around
So
2 o'clock in the morning, our time on Monday.
and I will try to add in all of the information for my next stream, which is also on that Monday. And
Oh, that
so what
would be
I'll
great.
almost do is like a recap, and I will have the donation links open because I know that we often leave them open for at least another week or two after uh,
Absolutely.
the raid train for people who maybe get a paycheck late and want to be a part of it or whatever.
It
And
it was amazing last year. We kept the donations active for a couple months afterwards, actually. And what was really cool to see was that over that 6 month period afterwards, when as you were saying, when people were able to donate to something, when they had the funds to be able to give to a cause like this, they immediately started thinking about show heart and variety. And one of the people that I've been working very closely with at Variety she was saying that they were receiving donations 6 months later and referencing the Show Hard concert, referencing the music, referencing all of that. So that was really neat to see.
Yeah, for sure. I do. I think I did made a KT. There it is. Voice unmuted who's in chat. Who I've actually been working with some of her music on making the last part of my scuba documentary, which I want to say thank you to Josh. He gave one of his tracks for an earlier part of the documentary, one that we actually got to showcase the whole island of Grand Cayman and do a lot of the family tour stuff. And I thought that your song Neverland worked so well for that, and so I appreciate getting me. And so I know that we were hoping to get Katie on the show, and maybe in a future week we can to have her preview or talk about her. She's got a big release party happening in
Absolutely.
Toronto
Coming up
on
at the
March.
end of the month.
Yeah, March
That's
23rd.
fantastic.
And I'm so excited because she releases the album right the day before I go to Texas, so I get to download it onto my phone
There you
and get
go.
to listen to it the whole airplane ride. So I'm excited about that personally. But it's funny because I met Katie and Josh pretty much together, back and forth on
Yeah.
their streams very early on in both of their streaming careers, and it was really cool to watch them do a collab stream together and to watch their communities grow to these amazing Twitch communities that we have today. I was visiting Katie earlier, and she's got such a wonderfully crazy, rambunctious community, and it's fun to listen to while I do my work day. And I love Josh's community. Obviously, I've been a mod over there for a very long time, and
Absolutely.
it was so cool. And yeah, the collab stream was such a cool thing that you guys did. I still hold out hope that someday you guys will do another one.
You
Uh,
never know.
years later, right?
You never know, right?
So I know there's still many people in the community that want it. I'm gonna get Lily back inside. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that collab stream was a lot of fun. And like that was one of the first times that I really did like harmony vocal, like stuff like that. And so to be able to work with Katie on that stuff was really cool because I'd never really like harmonized with people before. And so it was amazing. I'll never again take a shot of maple syrup though. I still have nightmares.
So I thought I'd bring
Katie,
you.
I'll tell you what, just it's better than coffee. One shot of maple syrup in the morning, you're good to go.
Yeah, those harmonies were really amazing. So I thought I'd bring. Hold on, I think I can set up a Lily cam while we're chatting so that people
Oh,
can
there
see
you go.
cute
The
dog.
real star of the show, let's be
Right,
honest.
for
It's,
sure. This is why I set up multiple cameras. Let me change the settings on this camera and turn off the background effect. And that should look like that. So there you go. Now you got a lily cam. So yeah, it's been so fun to be able to do these raid trains with you, and I'm so happy. I've gotten to see Katie, be a part of a lot of these ones in her community. It's such a giving community. It has been such a
absolutely.
huge part of it, and my friend Adrian is one of my high school friends. Is in chat talking about my co-host, and she had a good day at doggy daycare, so she's happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um,
Well,
yeah, well,
I gotta give you props here, Robbie, because not only are you modding for some of the streamers that are here, but and in the raid trains as well, but you did a lot of you made the animated emote that we used for 2 straight years for Show Heart, and you're working on the one for this year as well, which is awesome.
that's a great segue. I'm gonna use it. And see if I can change up these graphics. And I think I even got a Lily Cam and us and art all together. I think I did
There
it.
you go. More as
Um,
you need.
And let me put this camera down this way and this way. And my Zoom has been messing up a lot today, which is why I had the second computer set up. I'm actually, Josh, you wouldn't believe it, but I have a PC running the stream, the Mac I'm editing on, and my work computer is actually the one that's creating the Lily cam right now. And I have chat on that one, so I can,
That's awesome.
chat and be a part of that. So if this one dies, then I can at least go to that one, have options.
Absolutely.
Um,
you got to have the multi
and
computer
I'm
setup
recording it. Like
for sure.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen. So I've done 333 podcasts, and how many mistakes or errors that have come from doing the exact same setup every time. You know this as a streamer. Like it's maddening. It's like
Oh, for
how.
sure.
It's like why doesn't it work the same every time? Like it doesn't make.
I think it's, you know what, it's trying to keep us on our toes because if we get too comfortable with it, then we'll start taking it for granted. And it's like, nope, the thing that worked yesterday, not going to work today. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's just absolutely crazy to me. Um,
and we got to give a shout out to Carlo who just came into the chat. Stream Scribe, what's going on?
Nice, nice. Well, yeah, I love modding for Carlo, and it's great because I met him through your community as well. You guys did a collab stream, and
We
in fact, I
did.
believe he, if I remember correctly, was an artist during the big celebration that you had at the end of last
Mhm.
year's stream for this, where he came on and did his, which is how I met him originally. And maybe even an earlier raid train or some other event that you had him, doing art for, which is how I met him in the first place. And I love his community,
He's
uh,
awesome.
and so I'm gonna give him a quick little shout out because
Absolutely.
I think
No,
all
Carlo's amazing. And just every time you go into his stream, you feel right at home. And
my,
he's just got this way of like chatting with everybody, making you feel like you're just part of the family. It's fantastic.
I love arting while watching and listening to someone else do art. I just think that it's such a communal thing making art, and I think that I'm stuck in a room by myself a lot of the time for 7 hours asked to make art, and it seems almost disingenuous. This is why I listen to music or art streams while I'm designing, because it gets the creative juices flowing. It makes you feel a lot less alone. I'm making a lot of my art for a community, so you kind of want community around you for when you're
Sure.
doing that kind of work. And so it's really kind of helpful. So I have here three different examples. I think that it's working live on stream. So hold on, it's this one, and this one. Okay, so I came up with three different designs. I think I know which one Josh wanted to go with, but I thought I would showcase a couple of the different ideas I have. So this one right here is called a timeline editor. And for people who don't know much about Photoshop and making GIFs in Photoshop, this is how I make all my emotes. Because I was trained in Photoshop. I taught Photoshop classes for years. I've worked in it for over 20 years now. So I find it easier just to work within this program. And what's cool about it is in Photoshop, let me just move some screens around here for make it easier for me. But so for me, you just create different layers and you turn them on and off over time, and that's so you can sort of see these eyeballs in this bottom corner. Um, it is capturing my mouse, right? Can you see that? I don't
Oh
even know.
yeah, we got the
Okay.
cursor, or at least
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, good. If you do, then they do. That's kind of the cool thing I made about Twitch, or the Zoom settings, is that you get it first and then they get it after it. So basically, the
Perfect.
idea was to make a beating heart next to it that is kind of flashing. Was one idea I had to make the heart the beating heart, right? And then I also had the
Sure.
idea of doing this one, which I thought was kind of a clever idea. Oh, by the way, whenever you're making an emote, your first frame is actually the frame you end on because it's a cycle, right? So it's going to hit that same spot over and
That
over
makes sense.
again. But you want the ending one for the specific reason of that's the one that emote walls show, right? So I've made the mistake in
Right.
the beginning where I've had like a blank as the first frame, and then everything else comes later. Like our fireworks one, now knowing this years later, it would I should have started with the full heart and then go to the blank and then show it versus ending with it because that makes a blank one as the emote on the emote wall, right?
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
you learn things over time,
For
right? So,
sure.
and I'm sure that a lot of people still wouldn't necessarily know it, which is why I kind of want to tell people. So, I do my whole design and then I grab the last frame and I drag it to the front, if that makes sense. So the way that this story goes is it's kind of pulling this heart to it and then it shines, right? So that was kind of the story of the second idea I had. And then the third one is sorry, it's this one. Is very simple. It's just the same image resized but bigger. And so that one is simpler, but it actually makes a more beating look for the whole thing, right? So I think that that's the one that you wanted to go with, based on it. But I'm open to suggestions and thoughts, either from, yeah, Stream Scribe or Katie in chat or anybody else who's lurking in chat, or from you, Josh, because we could have different thoughts live than we did earlier. With all that information I just gave you. So
Yeah, I mean, I really like that one because I'm always thinking about on Twitch, the emotes are so small
they are very small.
that like sometimes those subtle movements, they're so cool to see, but you can kind of get lost in that like
Mhm.
constant stream of emotes. Whereas like the beating heart and having both of them, you got the show heart, you got the global concert, like it's all right there in your face and kind of draws your attention to it.
Right. We did
But I
talk
loved
about,
I loved all of them. Like it
yeah.
was
No, I think
really
that they
hard to
are
make
fun.
that choice today, man.
Yeah. Well, and what I could do is I could still export those as GIFs that you could give to people that they could throw on their stream for other things that are not emotes as well. So,
For
we
sure.
did them, I have no problem exporting them as high resolution GIFs, which is a little bit different than the lower resolution ones that we use for this. So all those things are possible. If we're going to do the beating heart, we did decide that I think we're going to cut it out from the background so that it will work on dark or light, right? Because I think you like that idea.
Yeah, I was curious as to like if the entire background was the white background or if it just had that white like almost like outer layer around
Yeah.
it.
So what I suggest people do is, if they're going to do it that way, is you take the design. I do think we take the global concert for 2024 off.
That would
This
make
it's
sense.
going to be so small. I don't know if you're going to even be able to read it in emote size anyway. So
Totally
why don't
agree.
we? I'm going to make another version of this, and we're going to start over, and we're going to call this version 4, right? And we'll work from there, and that way we don't mess. If we want to go back to any of these other ones, we can.
There you go, right?
So with that, we're going to take the main logo. I'm going to delete all the other layers because we really only need this one to start off with. And so we can use a couple of different tools right here. What I like to do is, there's only white right now in the background. There's no white in your design, which I very much appreciate, for what I'm about to do. What you can do is, if you go to select and you do color range, and target a color like white, and then click OK. It'll target everything that's white on that thing, and then I can do select inverse, uh, and then it will select everything that's not white now, right? And so if I then do a Command X, which is a cut, hold on, let me rasterize this layer. So rasterizing a layer turns it from vector art to pixel art. So now I'm cut it out, and now I'm going to take out the background. And then what I like to do is, I like to make a green screen to see sort of a neutral tone of what it would look like, so
Ah,
for white or black. And so I'm going to go to mode. I'm going to make a normal color and just make a green wall. And then I'm going to make another layer, and then I'm going to edit, paste special, paste in place. And so it puts it on a green background now, right? So now
yeah,
we
you
can
gotta love
see,
that.
um, and so this way we can see what it's going to look like on light or dark, because it's neither white nor black, right? And I can sort of also see
Absolutely.
if there's other things I need to cut out. So we agree that this is, as much as we love it for the graphic, we're going to cut it out for the emote. So
For
there.
sure.
So now we're down to just the graphic right there. So one thing that you can do now that we're cut out, is you double click this layer and you add a stroke to it, right? Like that. And then if you add a stroke of white, which is the inverted color to the black that we're using, and then we're going to make it a very small size, but we're going to make it full opacity. What that'll do is it creates kind of a white glow around it. And the reason we do that, and so I'm going to create two other backgrounds real quick. One is going to be what it would look like on black. So we're going to create a black background. And then we're going to create another one, and we're going to invert it, make it white, and see it on white. So now we know what it looks like on white and what it looks like on black. So you can see that it will have this white outline around it that sort of creates this sort of, neon thing. And we do that because if you don't do that and you take out the effect, notice how you lose,
In
the
dark mode,
wire
yeah.
around it and all that sort of stuff, right? Um, and usually I would use a glow, not a stroke, if we were doing a high definition image, but this is going to be shrunk to be so small that we need them to be able to see these little graphics when they're pretty tiny. So I'm going to minimize this for a second, and we're going to go down to like a pretty small size to give you an idea of what that would look like. Let's go even smaller than that. So that's what it would kind of look like when it's really tiny, right? So you
For
kind
sure.
of need that white outline or you would have lost it all. And I'm actually kind of the mindset that we need maybe the stroke to even be a little bit bigger.
I was gonna say we could even go bigger on that for sure.
Yeah. So, and this is why we play around with all these different settings. I don't know if I'd go too much bigger than that just because I don't know. You kind of don't know what is the thing around the show heart. I'm also,
Right.
part of me is wondering, like I like this stuff around the show heart when it's in a logo and it's big like this, right?
Right.
But when it's small, I don't know if we need it as much, right?
We could
So
try
part,
taking it out.
yeah. So let me see what that would look like. So let's go back to our green background, and we're gonna take away the effect. And what I do is I take the layer and I duplicate it real fast. And so this will be our copy. And I hide the copy. So if we ever need to go back to it, we have it, right? So now we're going to go to our main layer and I use the lasso tool. I'm just going to quickly lasso out this. And if I hold down the shift button and I lasso another layer, a little area over here, I got to be a little bit more careful. And a lot of people are very surprised to know that I do this all with a trackpad.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are some steady hands for a trackpad, man.
I know. It's crazy. I've trained myself over 20 years to not use a mouse. And so the only mouse I use is actually for the PC, that's the stream PC, and that's only because it's across the room and I need
Right.
a device to do that. All right, so we're going to cut it out there, and that's a pretty clean cut. So I like that. So now if we're going to go back and we're going to add the layer effect back in, I see that there's a little bit of bumps. I'm going to clean it up, although I probably don't need to because you probably would never see it when it's going to be. Um, but I'm just gonna grab the eraser tool and just cut away a little bit into this just to clean it up just a little bit to see what the edges are. Um, I think that looks better.
Oh,
So
that looks great.
now, um, so now that we're happy with that, I'm going to create a folder and we're going to put the things that we're not using in the folder just to sort of to hide them. So that way we take them out of there. So now we just have the main graphic, what it looks like on white, what it looks like on black, and then we could see what it would look like on a different color if we ever wanted to do it like on a shirt or whatever, right? So that's why I keep the green as an
That
option.
makes sense.
Let's do it on black for now, because I think most people prefer to do it on dark mode. So I'm going to delete the second frame. We just have one frame now. This is the end frame of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to adjust this a little bit now that we've cut out some of the stuff that's around it and center it, right? And have it come down a little bit there. And then we're going to create a duplicate of this layer, which is over here. And I'm going to enlarge that, but make sure that it sort of starts in the same spot. And so now, the second layer, turn this one on, turn this one. All right, let's turn both off. We're going to start off with the normal sized one. We're going to go to the second layer. We're going to flip them. And so now when you go back and forth, it does that thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to move this down just a little bit so the rope is kind of at the bottom part. So it's like that. And I think I'm going to move it over just a little bit so that way you still see fully show heart in it. See?
Oh, that's brilliant.
And then, so I take those two frames and honestly, you could just repeat it over and over again, but since it's just a 2-frame animation, it should just work just by itself. And we can
Gotta
choose
love that.
speed. We can like slow it down. We could speed it up a little bit. Do you think that that's a good speed? Why don't we look at it like at, 15% more like an emote size? See what our
Perfect.
thoughts are. All right, so this is what it is right now, approximately. Now when it renders, it's slightly different speed, but this is
Right.
zero point 0.3 seconds. But this gives me that heartbeat feel, I think. But we could slow it down. I mean, it just depends. You could have the dramatic slow heartbeat, right? Or you can have a
Right.
flutter, right? So I mean, those are obviously different feelings. I think too fast would be hard to read, right? And
Too fast might be hard to read. Would you
maybe,
be able to do like a gradual, like it's funny, Tina threw the old show heart into the chat, and it almost looks like you've got three stages of it.
yeah, we could do a third stage where you're even more zoomed in.
That would be awesome. Or like an in between, whatever you think. Like you're the maestro here. Like
Yeah,
I'm blown away by what you're doing. So
right. I'm just looking at the old one. Um, so yeah. We could do an in between. Let's see what an in between one looks like, and then we can decide whether we like that or the other one better. I'm going to zoom back in a little bit more just because it's easier to work with.
sure.
Um, so, well, it's easier to make it past it. So let's see what that one looks like. And then if we don't like that, then I'll do the in-between one. So
Awesome.
I'm going to duplicate this layer one more time. It'll be copy three. We're making a new frame. We're turning everything off. We're making sure that the third one is off for all of them. And then the third one is on for just this one. And then we do Command T, which is your transform. You hold your Shift tool and you grab from a corner. And that way it does it without stretching it. And trying to see here. Do it this way. It does definitely having a third layer does change the motion, But I like
Yeah.
it.
I think that's cool. I
Do you want to see what it looks like in the in-between one?
yeah, maybe let's see that.
Yeah. All right, so we're just gonna hide that one for now, and I'm gonna delete that layer. We're gonna make a layer in between these two here, and instead of duplicating the first one, we're gonna duplicate here. I think we duplicate this one. So this should be 4. Yes. So the S is there. I'm trying to do the math. So if the S was here, I use some lines.
Oh, you're getting the lines out now.
Yeah. All right. So now we know that's where it ends and that's where it is. So if the halfway point between those is about here. And now we grab this and I gotta make it a little bit bigger, I think, this way. All right, let me play it to see. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna move these lines out of the way to make it a little easier to see. All right, what are your thoughts on? It's pretty close.
It's pretty
Again,
close.
it's gonna be so small, that I feel like
Yeah.
people aren't gonna notice the little if it's a little hitch off.
I think this is really cool. I kind of agree with what Katie was saying though. The two kind of give it that like heartbeat
Yeah,
motion. I'm
I
wondering if yeah, what were you gonna say?
yeah, no, I kind of agree. Let me see what, and I think that the other one worked a little differently because of the shape of it. If you
Yeah.
know,
It was a
because the
little bit more
heart was
centered.
filling, it was centered, and the heart was filling it up over time. Where this things are gonna get cut off. Where I feel like, and I think it's kind of
Yeah,
gonna be a little different, maybe. So I'm not
absolutely.
necessarily like,
It's a new year, new emote, right?
hmm
I'm wondering if do we slow it down a little bit just to see how that looks? Like just
yeah.
like the
So if you
movement?
go to other here and I highlight both frames, you can do, let's try 0.4, because it doesn't take a lot, because,
Right.
ooh, I kind of like that. It's a little bit slower.
It's not bad. Do we like split the difference and do like a 3.5?
Yeah, we can do that. Ooh, I like that one.
Oh, that's great. I think that's the one.
Yeah, I think that's the one too. All right. So what I usually do now at this point is this is 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels. So you could, show it big, which is nice. So I always export it like that, and then I often export it. I'm try to pull up the. I usually do an option for 200 by 200, I believe. But let me just see what the recommended Twitch settings are real fast on another screen. Um, are you okay for another like 5 minutes? I know I was
Yeah,
gonna try.
yeah, absolutely, man.
Um, all right, so we got let me go to my creator dashboard on my other computer here. Um, do you so what tell everyone what days you are streaming as part of this?
So I'm going to be streaming on the first day, which is March 7th. I'm going to be streaming at, I believe it's 10 a.m., which is actually right after Katie's stream.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's going to be really cool. Hang out with Katie, hang out with everybody again. So yeah, I'm streaming at 10 a.m. until about noon on March 7th, and that's in Eastern time. And then I'm going to be on the last day as well. We are going to be streaming at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because of the whole daylight savings time change thing. So we move an hour forward on that day. So March 10th is going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time. March 7th, 10 a.m.
Nice. That'll be fun. So one of the benefits of only having a two frame animation is every frame that you add, obviously it adds size to the animation, and we don't have very many layers in this either, right? So with that being said, I just did the math, and I can actually do it at full size, and people could upload a full resolution GIF, and it should still work. I'm just double checking that that is correct. Oops. Where are we? Where did I export that to? Hold on. File, export, save for web. Save. Okay, I got it now. All right, so it's under pictures, show heart, final GIF. Yeah, so I think that this thing, it's only 189 kilobytes, so it's well under the 1
Oh
megabyte.
wow, yeah.
Um, and why not give everyone like the highest resolution? Because then they could use it for both, like on their stream or not. Uh,
Absolutely.
so do you want me to create one that's a black one, a white one, and a transparent one, or just make the transparent one and people can work from there? What is your preference
I feel like maybe to make it easy, just do the transparent one.
for
So
everybody? All
that,
right.
yeah, that
So what
way
I'll
they can
do
just kind of like, throw it wherever they need to.
exactly. So I'll go file. We'll export this for save, and this is the old school way of doing it, which I still like to use. They have newer menus. I don't like to use them. 1,000 by 1,000.
Never seen this menu.
Really?
I am looking at this and I'm like taking it all in.
Yeah, so what's cool with this menu is this is how you can export stuff for web specific files. So JPEGs, PNGs, W bitmaps, or GIFs. And then the GIFs, you can choose how it dithers and changes over time. So you can have transparency on, which we do. You can have it be interlaced, so that way you don't really have some of this is a two frame animation, so you're not going to have a lot of artifacts, but obviously certain things can have artifacts. You can also choose how many colors you want this to be in. The more colors, obviously, the more vibrant it is, but also the bigger the file size as well.
That
So,
makes sense.
and then down here, you can choose image size options. So right here, I could just say make it 500 by 500 or 100 by 100. I don't have to change the size of the whole document every time I
That's
want to do it.
fantastic.
Nice. So this looks like I think that it should work. So I'm going to do the show heart final. We're going to overwrite the black one that I created, make it that. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me see here. I guess I can send it in Discord to you. I know you're not set up for stream. You're on your phone, but is your computer on?
My computer is on.
I was gonna say you could try uploading it real fast to
Absolutely.
your uploader, and we can take a quick
Might
look
as
at it.
well, right?
Right, and then you could be the first to upload it, and we can see to make sure that it works. I would do it on mine, but you have instant upload and I don't, so it'll go. I think it'll load faster on yours potentially. I just put it in to our direct message chat, and you should be able to just click on it, click open in browser, and then right click save as, um, and stuff like that. So
There it is. Showheart.gif. Gotta love that.
yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in and being a part of this. Originally, I was going to do a video editing stream, but this is kind of fun way to do it, and I can still do some video editing, next week, and recap, all the stuff that you guys are doing and have done on the raid train, and even maybe put some of my bars up, and so people can see where we're at on that as well. Um, so let me know when you've attempted to upload it, and I will check it on my side as well. But yeah, but everyone go check out Katie's new album, or new EP, I should say. It's coming out in just a couple of weeks. I'm so happy that she was able to tune in and join us, and uh, I'm very excited for this. I'm a big Dan Tremblay fan, so I think it's really cool that she got to work on it. While Josh is figuring that out, I was thinking of switching
It's in
screen.
there, man.
It's there?
It's
Nice.
there.
I'm gonna switch 'cause I do want to show just for a second before you go, Josh, and before Katie goes. I do want to show a little hint of what I was working on last week with her song. But yeah, let's just let me try to refresh my screen, and we can see.
Yeah, let me get back to the chat so I can potentially use it. Here we go.
Yeah, it's not letting me use it in time.
Oh, it's right there. Boom.
Nice. I think it looks really good.
I think it looks great, and I agree with you and Katie. The simple like 1-2 punch of the
Yeah.
heartbeat, definitely great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that we get to create art that then people get to use for these moments, and then they keep it with them. I think people like Dan Tremblay, who's used all the different emotes I've made for all these different raid trains, and he's kept them in it. And even like Andy, we did the punk rock raid train, and they have the punker that that
Oh,
people
that's
still use to
awesome.
this day. And so it's cool that you get to kind of be part of the language of Twitch through a visual medium because I only get to stream once a week, but yeah, I can still help inspire and be a part of it, in other ways. And it's just kind of cool to see your art be referenced and used in these moments like this. So,
Well, you got to
um,
hand it to Twitch for like doing the attribution thing as well, because you the whole idea of art, it expands so far beyond painting, sculpture, music, and theater.
yeah,
There are so many other forms of entertainment and so many other forms of creative expression that contribute to art, contribute to the way that people interact with it, contribute to the way that people feel around it. And so the fact, like you were saying, like that we can create something like this and it's used in a digital format, it's a GIF, it's like it's its own entity as far as like, what the designation, file size, whatever it is, but it's art because it invokes feeling and it starts conversations. And at the end of the day, that's what art is supposed to do.
yeah, it's so cool. And there's so many different forms of art. It's funny because I obviously started streaming. I'm about to hit 8 years, this month, which is kind of crazy.
That's huge.
And so it's really been fun to do it, to see it from Facebook and doing, web streaming for an audio podcast for all those years before that. But then to move to Twitch and then, really you and seeing you and Katie and Carly and all that really pushed me to come back because I started on Twitch a while back, but didn't find a footing, and then I was able to come back through the communities we were able to build and people getting to meet me through your guys' communities. And so it was really kind of a cool opportunity. But then in this last year, I realized as much as I love sports and I talk about sports, it doesn't have to be the only thing that I stream. I'm not a musician. I wish I was, but I do. Music is so inspirational to me, and that's why I've used it in these video editing projects. And so it's kind of cool to be able to utilize some of the music that you guys create into a visual medium and showcase some of the editing that I got to learn in college and that I don't get to use on my day to day basis as much as I would love to, but sort of be able to showcase some of these moments. And so I was just going to show just a little bit. It's a long video, so I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm still working on it, but I just kind of wanted to give Katie and you a sense of what I was working on, especially because I was using her song. I know that Clean Air is kind of part of her last chapter of music that she had, and then she's moving on to a new one. But it was one of the first songs that I got to hear. I got to be in chat the day that she premiered this song, and that's so
Wow.
many years ago now. And so it's kind of cool to be able to use it. And she let me also extract the instrumental from it, which I thought was a really nice thing. And I thank you, Josh, for letting me use the instrumental of your track too, because being able to. So the way that the video flows real quick is it starts off with a Dan Tremblay song where it's in a very dark, it's a rainy, dark day. Not much light is traveling down to 80 feet, right? So everything you see is through the eye of my flashlight. It's almost like a night dive, if you will, right? And then, so that's kind of this sort of dramatic sounding stuff. I'll just give it a sense of it. Right, so it's this very dramatic feeling thing, which kind of picks off where we left off in the last video using some of Dan's tracks. I've been able to use almost all of Glacial Drift album in this thing. I think in the end, I'll use all but one song off of his album and through the whole story, not in order, but through, the journey there. And then this one's a much more lighter track, and you can see here some like lobster footage.
I like that. Beautiful accompaniment.
And so I'm going to play full screen just for a second so you can see a little bit better what we're working with here. It's a cool shot of a lobster. And so this place is called the Aquarium, and I've always wanted to dive it. It's one of the dive locations that I either been to one time before or not at all. And just such beautiful creatures through it. I mean, you can see that we've got these are French angelfish, which are beautiful fish. And so you go through lots of cool stuff there. This is my wife's favorite fish, that purple and yellow one. And then, so it transitions from that into this moment here that I use Katie's song. There's a cool transition piece here. So you can see like it's just showcasing some of that stuff. And then so it's showing the different wildlife. And then this super rare type of triggerfish came in. I've never seen this one before. And
That's
so
so
it's
cool.
super cool to sort of follow him on this journey. It's very similar to there's a Picasso trigger that looks similar but much crazier colors that exists in the Pacific Ocean. This one, I'm trying to remember the name of this triggerfish. It's just beautiful. The iridescent blue in it. It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Um, and then, so you can see here, I'm sort of following his journey around, and then we bring in the actual uh, version of Katie's voice coming in. And I kind of,
I think you're muted.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
There was it was all instrumental music until the very end, and so that I love how we end with clean air, right? Because we're breathing air. Like it's kind of this really kind of cool
I
moment
like
to
that
end the 11-part documentary on a song versus ending with an instrumental. So it's a
for
flip because
sure.
the other song we started off. We ended with Dan's instrumental. We started off with Luna's song in the last part, and so it's kind of the flip flop of that, if you will. So this is the Spanish hogfish. Liz had always, when she was a scuba diver, um, became a scuba diver. She always wanted to see this fish, and because she loves yellow and purple, they were our wedding colors, and she was like, "I got to see this fish." And every dive we have done since then, for almost 100 dives, we've seen this fish on every single one almost.
That's
And
awesome.
so like it's kind of cool to like it's almost like a Where's Waldo in all my movies. You can sort of like, oh, I see what happens. If I click spacebar with that screen, then it mutes me and not plays the video. And I'm like,
Okay.
so that's why it happened. There you go. I'll just show a little bit more of it. And I just wanted to show Katie the part where her song comes in.
Spent so long being down, trying to make to feel as though I'd never measure up. Constantly deep to the ground, I didn't understand the sound. The sighs gave way to love. It took some tears and lonely nights for me to learn how to breathe clean air. But in my darkness shines a new light, and I wish you could understand. Oh, working on unlearning truths about myself that were never true at all. Still don't feel deserving, was taught I was unworthy, but I'm starting to feel whole. Spend some time looking within so I can learn how to breathe clean air. You taught me there is more to me, but it's strange knowing someone cares.
So I love this is kind of the surface, the very last dive of this. We've done these 15, trips and stuff like that, and sort of that emotional feeling of coming up, for the last time. And I love this new GoPro. It's just so crystal clear. It's kind of crazy, even on a
That's on a
rainy.
GoPro?
Yeah, it's on the newest GoPro, and it's got motion stabilization. It's 4K. It's amazing, and
Man, that is real clear.
yeah, and
Wow.
it's been awesome. And it's so tiny and so easy. I use it the whole thing. I have a bunch of different things. I was almost thinking about bringing it skiing this past weekend, putting on a helmet or something like that. I ended up just shooting on my iPhone. But uh, I was thinking about you actually earlier because yesterday was Liz's very first day ever on skis in her
Oh,
life.
that's awesome.
And so Zach got to watch it, and Zach and Sarah were watching from above. And originally we were just going to bail it because 60 degrees,
That's
uh,
cold.
and I've never actually skied when that warm. Like I've always skied when it's been 40 or whatever, and she hates the cold, and she's scared to ever even try it. And so I was so happy that she liked it, and we brought the kids, and yeah, it was just a cool experience. I hadn't skied in almost 20 years, but it came
Oh,
back
wow.
like that.
It's kind of like riding a bike. Like once you get it, you can take time off and then it's just like no time passes.
I didn't fall once in 7 hours. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I was expecting to be like, not knowing what I was doing. I even did some black diamonds and stuff. It wasn't like I wasn't,
There you
like,
go.
so it was so slushy because it was obviously 60 degrees and it was the
For
last
sure.
weekend of, and
Oh,
the mountain.
60. I thought you said 16. I was like, wow, that is cold.
Yeah, no, 60.
60. Okay.
I was in a t-shirt
Those
skiing.
are the best. I remember a couple of like March break skiing trips where we were in like bathing suits.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wild. I saw someone in shorts with no shirt on skiing around.
That's confidence.
Yeah,
That's
I was like, that's
confidence.
wild. But yeah, so it was cool because one of the ski patrol people actually is a good friend of Liz's. They went to college
Oh,
together and
nice.
he taught her. And so if you check out my Instagram, I actually documented the whole thing. I did a fun video on Instagram, but then on my Facebook page did like a much longer thing. But yeah, anyway, so it was fun to, because I just didn't know if she was ever going to take to it or whatever. And I didn't put Zach in any lessons or whatever. We just put him with an iPad just sitting. It was a beautiful day. So he just literally sat out with his iPad and Switch and he would play video games and look up and watch the skiers and go down and play that. He
That's
was there for
awesome.
7 hours and didn't complain once. It was amazing and let us have the whole day. And we all just took turns watching them. And it was what a cool moment. And now he was like, I want to be out there. And so next year we'll get him
That's
going.
great. Start them young, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm trying to debate on whether Zara, she's 2.5 now, she'll be 3.5 next year. It's right on that cusp. They say about 4. So it'll be interesting to see how mature she is at 3.5
Oh,
and
for sure.
whether or not she's willing to take instructions or not. That's always the question. So
Absolutely. Well, like all it'll take is to see her older brother do it once,
right.
and then
Right,
she'll
right,
be
right.
like, "No, I'm doing this."
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, do we keep her at home with, my parents or something and just the three of us go, this is an hour drive, or, what do what, we didn't have a babysitter and that's why we thought we were going to bag it and it's in 60 degrees. And it's like, we're not going to do this, whatever. But I'm happy that we didn't because it was like a really cool thing. The other funny thing was Zach was in his first boxing match this,
I saw that.
which is having wildly different reactions across social media and my family. Like some people think it's the funniest, coolest thing that they've ever seen, and some people are like, "That's child abuse. How could you let your kid do that?" I'm like, he's got the biggest helmet on and like the biggest padded gloves and like the biggest smile on his face. He loved it. Like he thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's
He's in
awesome.
karate class and he finally gets to use some of his karate moves.
There you
Like,
go. Because you're always told when you take karate, don't use this outside the
yeah.
dojo. Like that's not okay.
Exactly. And he's never sparred because he's just like an early,
Sure.
gold belt or whatever. And so of course the kid that he was fighting at the end was twice his size at first grade. But it was just wild party. You have kindergarten, first grade, and in the fifth grade, all from my school. And I'm trying to like hide and not be like, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a staff member. Don't look at me that way. Like, and they're
Right.
like looking over at me like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm a parent today. Like it's
Yeah.
just absolutely wild to see the drama of fifth grade unfold like behind like I was like, oh god. I was like, don't put blinders on kind of thing. But wild weekend. But thank you so much for joining. But yeah, if anybody wants to
Absolutely.
check out the show Heart Ray Train, is there a website that has all of the stuff on it?
Yes. If you go to Variety, I believe the website here, I'll do you one. I'll do you one even better.
I think I found it. Friday
Okay,
or
perfect.
the Global Heart. Yep, I see the emote. So I'm gonna drop that.
There it
Uh,
is.
let me just I realize I'm on the
All
wrong.
of the information is there. We're gonna have the schedules updated there as well. You'll be able to like click in and watch the streams from there too. And yeah,
Ignore
I'll
Ignore
send you
that
all of the.
stream elements the command that just started. That's funny because it saw that variety was in the title and like, oh, you want more information? I was like, no, I don't actually. But
There you
yes,
go.
go to the first URL, not the second one that I just
Absolutely. And we've got all of we just put the overlays in the Discord as well as the commands. So all of that is in the fundraising Discord. And so you'll be seeing a lot of those messages over the next couple of days leading up to Thursday.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Josh, you've been great. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We went 30 minutes over a lot
Hey,
of
it's all good.
but it was fun. We got an emote done, and so it
I was
was
just gonna say when you're talking and hanging and having a good time, that's, you
yeah.
know,
Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to your spots, and I look forward to Katie's spots and everybody. And I thank everyone for being a part of it, whether you're a streamer or a mod. I know how much work goes into all of that, and whether you're any part of the design team, the variety team behind the scenes, the people who organize the raid training, Peter and all of the work that he does, and the whole team over on Discord, and it's going to be such a fun event. I can't believe this is already our third year doing it. It's like
Crazy.
it's wild to me. And it has been really cool what we've been able to accomplish the first couple of years, and I look forward to seeing what this year brings. And yeah, and you are obviously welcome to come back next week if you'd like to give a recap.
I would love that. I
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
yeah, we could definitely do that as part of next week's show. And yeah, it's this was a lot of fun. I appreciate your time. And I was gonna maybe do some video editing. It's already 11:45. I'm probably gonna raid out. So I'm gonna actually let you help me decide who we're gonna raid out to, and then
Fantastic.
I'll let you go. See if I've got. We do
Well,
have
I mean,
KR is on.
I was just gonna say right off the bat, we got another streamer as a part of the Show Hard event. KR is doing his thing. Who knows? He might go for 8 hours.
Right?
You never know.
Is he one of the last ones?
He is streaming. I believe he's one of the last ones right before, like, there's one other person that's on after him, I think, and
Mhm.
he's one of the last guys on the raid train.
Can't go 10 hours then because there's somebody
I
else.
was just gonna say he's probably gonna keep going. Like he'll probably like raid out, start the stream again, and
Yes.
then like,
Then they'll
you know
raid
what I
back
mean?
into it later,
Exactly. He'll just
Yeah.
keep going.
Let's just keep going. He's a legend. It's crazy that I met KR in your stream one day when he came to visit,
Right.
and then I was like, oh, I'll give him a follow, and then we raided in to his stream at the end of your stream, and I hung out there for a little bit, and I said, I was at late at night, I was like, look, I want to spend more time with you. You're a new guy. You're a cool guy. I like what you're doing here. Like what you're building. This is before, maybe even before he was or just got affiliate, but very early on in KR streaming. And I was like, all right, I'll leave you a lurk, and then I'll check the VOD out, and I'll catch you the next time. And so the next morning, I open up my computer, and he's still going. And so I hung out with him for the first 4 hours of my workday, and you pop on later that day, and we raid you back, which I still, in the whole history of Twitch, I've
It's
never seen
phenomenal.
that happen. And that's kind of how the legend begins of KR. And he's had so many great, more than 24-hour streams
Oh
since.
yeah.
And and it's cool that you guys have gotten together and you've gotten together with Katie. And I obviously need to find a way to get up to Toronto at some point. And I had
Heck
so
yeah,
much
man.
fun meeting you and having you down to Baltimore. And
Oh, that was awesome.
that was really cool. So. All right, let's. I'm going to start the raid over to KR. He is, in fact, my most rated to channel. I think it's rare that I don't raid to KR. But I appreciate him, for being a part of this raid train and being such a good friend. And I always enjoy modding over there. But yeah, everyone come back next week. Maybe we'll have Josh back next week and recap it. If not, I will definitely recap it for sure. We'll have more sports talk. The Wizards did in fact fall to the Jazz. I did not mention that, but the Wizards continue to have not won since before February.
Wow.
So yeah, we're still waiting. They were winning at the end of or end of the first half by 1 point, but they fall by 12 in the end here to Utah. But yeah, anyway, I get a raid call. And thanks, Champ, for modding and being a part of the show earlier. And yeah, everyone
It's
grab a
good to
raid
see you,
call.
champ.
And yeah, we'll hopefully have a really fun stream next week, and hopefully the raid train goes super well, and we'll keep you all informed of that. Thank you again, Josh, for doing this. We'll definitely clip this up, and I will upload this to YouTube and maybe even Instagram as well. And
Right on, man.
awesome, fun stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're gonna head over right now and have a great night.
Take care, y'all.